Okay, it's recording.
Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the November meeting of the Community Development Committee. As far as the agenda goes, I would just like to request that we bump new business to item number, 6. So we'll approve the minutes after I just mentioned some new business. If I can have somebody move that.
We do probably an acceptance of the agenda with the modification.
Yes, so can I please have somebody move the acceptance of the agenda with the suggested modification?
Sure.
Thank you, Derek. And seconder. Somebody online.
The only, just so you know, the only someone is Leanne and Eduardo online.
Yeah, sorry, I should have said the only committee members we have today are Derek, Leanne, and Eduardo. So it's.
Oh, okay. We can't see who's there. That's why I'm waiting. I thought, okay.
Better start this, yeah. The only one.
So Leanne, are you seconding the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any conflicts of interest? And none being heard. We did have a delegation for today, but they weren't able to make it, so there are no delegations. So the new business that I wanted to bring up was we've had 2 members suggest that this committee was out of the scope of the BIA's mandate. So taking those concerns into consideration, I was approached by a board member who also felt this committee did not fit in with the BIA mandate. So as a committee, I just wanted to discuss our role within the BIA if we feel it's needed. I think we should have a discussion and bring it to the board so the board can decide how to proceed. Basically, the thinking is community development as far as any social services or any kind of social connection should be left to the city to run, mandate, update. However, when I was talking to the mayor, he's getting feedback that it's not even the city's role, it's the region's role. So it's kind of like everybody is kind of passing the buck. But they feel it's not good use of BIA resources for us to focus on any social services downtown. My challenge with that is we are a stakeholder. I do believe in collaborative processes. So removing the BIA from what's going on downtown leaves us kind of out in the cold. We don't know what's going on or how to assist or how to integrate with what's going on downtown. So I don't know if it's even as simple, Angela thought, like changing our title and rejigging things a little bit, like membership engagement, so that we keep our members informed of what's going on. And I don't know if people are offended that community development swung more under the we're using BIA dollars to facilitate programs with the unsheltered, and the business owners were getting upset about that. But I just wanted to present that information to you guys as a committee and wondering if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or ideas as to how to move forward with that feedback.
So my thoughts on that is that everything that we do within this committee is membership engagement. We've got the RAD program. We've got those meetings with the police, which then we report back to the membership. Even the welcoming streets. All of that is to engage our members and make sure that we're feeding their needs, right?
And I think part of the argument was the ramps could go under economic development for access. Like we could slide different components under various committees. I know Garth used to meet with DRPS on a one-to-one as like an ED in DRPS and then disseminate that information to the board. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate, pros and cons. I understand both sides. Like I said, I believe in more of a collaborative process myself, but if we're getting resistance to that, how we can best meet everybody's needs. So you guys from the mission, what are your thoughts on that feedback? Because I know it directly affects you.
We're here as just neighborhood supporters. So, you know, I think that that's a decision that the businesses or their representatives need to make. Your member surveys are very, very clear that the front of mind issues are very much the ones that this committee was struck to discuss and perhaps come forward with whatever may be the BIA's role, whether it's advocacy or bringing these issues forward to whomever as a single unified voice, which tends to work better than individual members being lost doing that. The mission is sort of at the here at the pleasure and will of the members. So what our role is in determining the outcome of this committee, really, I don't think is for us to decide, just that we're an available resource. And, I think you should have a wholesome discussion at your board about that, because there's far more businesses represented at that board, and they have a closer pulse on what the businesses need, and then make that decision there. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a, renaming the committee, it shuffles the deck chairs around on the deck, but it's not going to change the mandate much.
Well, I mean, the committee is basically a conduit for information exchange and keeping everybody up to date. We're not, the only resources we're using is an hour of, Angela and Taylor's time to be here, but otherwise we're not funding or providing any money for any, individual social services. I mean, and then I guess the time we put into doing membership surveys, which I would think would be to our benefit anyway, if the businesses have a voice to say, yes, we want food, or yes, the unsheltered population are, helping or hindering our businesses. So I'm not, and I think, it wouldn't be just renaming the committee. I think that would be a potential start, and then shifting more of our agenda items to be very clearly communication exchange. I don't know where the misconception is that we're financially supporting social services, because we're really not. And I know Welcoming Streets, I think, was one of the antagonizing factors as to our role, because we were a partner with them. And even that partnership, I don't think, maybe it was misconstrued, because we don't have any resources.
It was never a financial commitment. It was a commitment to help introduce them to the members and help establish a relationship with our members and the Welcoming Streets team, so that they're better supported. So that's kind of why I'm thinking that this should be renamed more as membership engagement, because everything that we've done on this committee pertains to how we're reacting to what our members are asking, seeing what their needs are, and then getting back to them.
Well, everything just goes to this communication, and I think it's not just this committee. It's for whatever reason, communication with downtown businesses seems to be so convoluted and misconstrued and so challenging and difficult. Like, I don't know, we don't have that engagement piece with our membership. So potentially rebranding this committee would give us an opportunity to better educate and communicate its mandate that it is not a financial support for social services.
What about rewriting the mandate? Would that help? I mean, one way or the other, I think you need to have this conversation out in the open at your board.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah, I just wanted to take what we talk about here to the board.
Right. Because the mandate isn't entirely clear on a few things. Like it's, it gets into enhancing economic development downtown Oshawa. It does talk about providing education and support to downtown business owners, but doesn't really speak to advocating for those particular concerns with one voice. So I don't know, maybe the mandate could either be expanded or tweaked.
Okay. So potentially take it back to the board, stating the issues, and then recommending kind of rebranding the committee and relaunching it with a more communication-based focus.
Is that, but you have a communications committee.
We have a marketing
Or
committee.
marketing, okay.
It's called marketing communications, but it's really marketing.
Because I would think, I'm just trying to think of what people would say if we had an engagement committee. Sorry, what did you call it?
Membership engagement.
Membership engagement committee, and then would say, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do just in general? Why do you need a specific committee to
That
address
was my
that?
thought as well, yeah.
Well, because we do have special programs that go under it, right?
Yeah, and we do need to put an emphasis on it, because it's been kind of not missed, but it needs more work because our members aren't engaged. So I don't think having a committee would hurt. In marketing, we
It also
talk about
gives-
ways to market the BIA and market the downtown, but if we don't have businesses who are willing to participate in that marketing because they're not engaged.
But it gives us direction too, and it shows the members that we're trying to engage them, whether it's reciprocal, we don't have control on that, right? I hear lots of times, well, you guys aren't telling us stuff from certain members, but we are, right? It's whether or not they're engaged, right? And, I have members where I've gone in and said, we sent this email. Oh, yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I did see it.
Yes.
See something come in. So, it helps for them to realize too, like if we've got a committee that's saying, just called membership engagement, that we are focused on and we care what they have to say and we want their participation.
Okay, good feedback. Okay, thank you everybody for your thoughts. We'll bring it forward to the board for discussion. Any last, I know Leanne or Eduardo, did you have any comments?
No, we were just kind of taking notes. We're having a hard time hearing, so we're trying to listen very carefully. But we were just, I guess our question too is what, I think, and Derek already alluded to that, is what is the purpose of the subcommittee? And community, it needs to be community engagement, but to what end? For what purpose? Like, what is the purpose and the mandate of that? What type of engagement? Because you mentioned that the businesses are not engaging, and not engaging in what? Are they just there to mention things that are going wrong, or is it just there when you need them, or?
Towards building something.
What is the purpose of that engagement that you're looking for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think for me, when I've seen thriving downtowns, they seem to be a collective. Like when there's events, everybody seems to be on board and they're all participating. They seem to just kind of support each other in a really positive way. And when I think of downtown here, and I'm guilty of it myself. I don't know many of the other business owners or property owners, and we all do our own thing. When there's events, it doesn't seem like everybody's out supporting each other. So for me, in my head, I always saw community development as literally the focus wasn't even on, the unsheltered issue came up in our survey, but for me, community development was more of like collaborative process amongst businesses downtown so that we support each other and change the kind of perception of downtown so people would be open during events or would refer one business to another. So that's kind of where my thinking went under the mandate of this committee. And then the unsheltered issue came up on the survey. So that kind of took priority and focus as far as the communication exchange went. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, you did. And that's great. And even from our perspective, we sort of sense that from our interaction with the businesses that there's no cohesiveness between all the businesses, and especially at a crucial time during COVID. And with the homeless situation, I understand that we have welcoming the streets, but again, I question that effectiveness in terms of communicating that to the different agencies or the different businesses as to what's being done. And then also, are they feeling supported?
Yeah.
And is that being communicated properly to maintain that collaboration between the businesses in the downtown?
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you for volunteering to help me rewrite the mandate of the committee, because that's very well articulated. Okay, so we'll bring that forward to the board, and I appreciate your input. That was a great question. So moving on to item number, which I guess is 7 now, approval of the minutes. I don't think we have.
Leanne was at the last, oh no, she wasn't at the last one, it was Stacy.
Yeah. So we can just bump that to next.
But there was 2, the September 14th though.
She was at the 14th, Leanne was at the 13th, October 13th. Because I wasn't here for the September one, Stacy was there.
It was just Leanne anyway, we don't have a seconder.
You can put the
Oh, I
motion
can?
forward, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so we'll do the September minutes?
Yeah.
Leanne, are you comfortable approving the minutes from September?
Yes, I can.
Perfect, and I'll second that. Thank you. And then we'll bump October's to December.
Yep. We'll discuss that.
Okay.
We'll discuss that at the end because we technically don't have any meetings scheduled for December.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Well, maybe we'll just put that on hold until we find out what exactly is going to happen.
Yeah, so we can tentatively at the end create a date for December if you want. And
Yes.
it could just be tentative, right?
We'll just,
Generally, we don't have any meetings in December, but that doesn't mean that we can't. Yeah.
put it on hold.
If we did, I'd say bump it up to the first week.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's,
So,
Yeah.
but
we'll just wait and see.
yeah.
Okay. We don't, item number 8, we don't have any new committee members that have applied. Number 9, meeting with the Durham Region Police. And I don't think, we're meeting with them after this meeting. We already discussed the other meeting.
No,
We had a meeting in between?
yeah, we did.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this tends to be the week before our meeting with the police.
So our discussion, I'm trying to think, there wasn't anything, because they're still trying to figure out what kind of
well,
statistics they can give us
Yeah.
that they're comfortable with. And then they have a certain person who does all of the stats who's been seconded to another position. So they're not able to provide the information. So that's still kind of up in the air as to what information they can provide us to give the members
And when.
and when. And then what else?
Well, and then there was, because they had given me a phone call about a couple of individuals. And just an update on that, at least one of the individuals was receiving assistance. They had, I'm probably going to say it wrong, it's Peacock or something. They had approached them, and I know that they walked around with them, and we were trying to coordinate them with some other services as well for resources for the police.
What was the online? Yeah, and they did express some frustrations in regards to their ability to affect change, because a lot of the unsheltered population don't have proper identification. So that was one thing. Also, if they issue tickets or fines, they're just scrumpled up and thrown away. If they're taken in, the court just releases them anyway. So they feel that their role is limited as far as impacting change on a law enforcement end.
Yeah.
But I did want to thank, I think it was the Backdoor Mission and a few other people. It was really nice to see a collaboration starting, because the police reached out to Angela regarding one incident, and then I think it was, we reached out to them.
Yeah, so I reached
Yeah.
out to Backdoor Mission,
Yeah.
John Howard Society, I think Canadian Mental Health. And the other thing too with the police, which isn't really from our meeting, but they've been really responsive. There was a situation last week where I sent it to a number of organizations. Backdoor Mission was one of them, the police, and then Welcoming Streets. And within 3 hours, I had heard back from everyone. So I was really impressed at how responsive everyone was to the situation, so that we could, give that business/property owner some peace of mind of what was happening.
Yeah, which is
So
awesome.
I'd like to thank
Yeah,
Backdoor
they say,
Mission,
yeah, thank you
because you
guys.
guys were the quickest to respond, but I was very impressed that within 3 hours, everyone had responded.
So that to me feeds into the purpose of the committee, is to kind of generate that kind of communication and networking. So that's evidence of our effectiveness.
Yeah, well, and the property owner was also very happy to hear that, multiple agencies had been made aware of it, and that they were all going to be doing their part to, whether it be just talk to the individual or whatever. They were just very happy, to hear that this wasn't just being swept under the rug, basically.
Yeah.
It was like everyone was taking this seriously and wanting to see this situation never happen again.
Nice. So thank you. We'll take that as a success story.
Yeah. Well, I think it was. It just, for me, it was a huge, I found it a huge success, because
Yeah.
it was a busy day for me. But even at that, it was just sort of like, within 3 hours, everyone had responded with what they could do to help.
which is awesome. So we're gonna continue our meetings with the police monthly, and I was excited to see they're pretty engaged too. I didn't think they would want to, but
They're excited
excited
to,
do too.
you know, be a community.
Okay, so item number 9, welcoming streets. We don't have a rep today. The only update I know is that the request for additional funding went through. They did ask the BIA they asked Ivano for a letter of support for a warming shelter, which the BIA did not provide a letter for them in support, just based on historic feedback from the businesses. They didn't really want anything that would draw or attract the unsheltered to the downtown. They prefer to have that on the outskirts of downtown. So Ivano wasn't comfortable in providing a letter for them moving forward. So I think that application for funding has gone in or is going in shortly.
Sorry, Cindy, can you clarify that? Welcoming Streets is looking for a warming center, you're saying, in downtown?
Yeah, I think that was in their proposal. Oh, and Derek might have more information.
So it's actually, it isn't strictly a warming center, although the name is a little confusing. It's it's a drop-in space that they're looking to set up just outside the downtown somewhere. But the details are going to be in, I gotta watch the time because I have to run shortly. So I think they're on the city website. If you go to today's Development Services Committee meeting, it's one of the agenda items under this. You'll find a Welcoming Streets item there. I can send it if anyone wants to look at it.
Yeah, if you could, please.
Okay. So that's welcoming streets. Gap, I don't.
Sorry, it's rad. I wrote it wrong.
Oh, well, actually, Gap update was on, but I don't think Daniel's.
Oh,
here
yeah.
or Rick's
Yeah.
not here. So yeah,
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry.
I've got to leave in 3 minutes. Is there any specific conversation you want me here for?
trying to get it done. Look at us
So,
fly.
you know, there is no rad update either, so.
There's no red update.
No,
Okay.
so, community building,
Yeah, I have.
we've already sort of discussed that with everything else.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the other new business then would be the proposed dates that I sent around and whether or not we want to set up a meeting for December. And if we want to set one up temporarily, we can always cancel it.
I say no. I think in light of everything happening until the dust settles, there's no pressing need to have a meeting in December. I don't think for this committee anyway. We have to talk about it at the board and get some regrouping and replanning. So unless anyone online, I'm looking at the faces here and everyone's like, yeah, that sounds good. Anyone online desperately want to have a meeting in December?
No, we're good.
Okay.
So yeah, so we'll, I'll send you an email after the board meeting, maybe to update the committee as to how the board kind of feels about this committee and a potential direction. And maybe in the new year, we can regroup and have a little brainstorming session as to how we can rebrand our committee and how we can market it differently.
I'll just provide one other note on that. So those who are saying that it is outside the scope of the BIA or a BIA, the Municipal Act, the Municipal Act is not, so there are some things that it is prescriptive on when it comes to downtown business improvement areas, and there are some things where the interpretation can be quite loose in terms of how you want to apply your energy. And I'm sure that there are countless examples of BIAs around Ontario that in some shape or form are engaged on issues that might be considered social issues. They're probably not funding social services, but certainly in terms of member engagement, I'm sure that we are not setting a precedent. So no. I would just consider that when you're moving it forward to your board.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to run.
Awesome. I think we're all going to run.
So motion for adjournment.
Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
And Cindy seconded.
Oh, sure, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. What a productive group we are. Morning, nonetheless. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
You as well. Bye.
Oh, dear.